Check test 1 2. Check, test, 1, 2. Chat. Stream chat is not open. Check, 1, 2. Trying to make sure the audio is flowing out. Alright, looks like people are here. Okay, cool. Yeah, okay. Wow. That is a huge, huge lag. I gotta catch up. There we go. Okay. Hello. I am Alan Arnson, and I am here streaming a session from 6 June 2025. I am working on composition. I have my London Symphony Orchestra set up here, the BBC Symphony Orchestra set up here. I have all my violas, basses, violins, cellos, strings, brass, woodwinds, some Spitfire Labs, glass piano, and soft piano here for the end. This track exists as it is, and I am in here to correct some piano pieces from the original track. So this is going to be boring replay of how I build my tapestry of this music. Justin says turn my mic up. Hopefully that comes out fast enough. Thanks for watching, fellas. All right. So we're going to go through on the original here. Watching the bottom left screen, see the timeline. track right there needs a little bit of work here in this soft piano part. So we're going to isolate these piano pieces here, and this will just be me spurging out here. Identifying which piece of this is weak on that last playback. Got these extra channels in here to make sure this one's inverted to stand out above the other channels. Right there, that is where it sounds weakest. Add a supporting fifth or a third here to see if this can punch a little bit better. We'll be in the right screen now, focusing on our MIDI track. Playing an interesting solo over that right now. Excellent. Thank you, Mark. That's wonderful. This is going to be a lot of bouncing back here, but I'm just going to try and flush out these piano parts. Right there. I've got these notes here. They need to stand out better. Let's see if we get those notes into another piano over here. Next piano roll. See if that can fold in here. This guy out of here completely. Nope, still not there. I think it's because I've got multiple voices over the top. So take the tails out of these MIDI voices here to see if I can trail these off. These guys out here. This was from constructed piano roll off of Idea, folding harmony. I'll pull these out if I can. They have sustains because I can't hold the pedal the whole time. All right, let's get this guy soloed and completely isolated. Hold this completely back. Take these notes out. It's a little bit better. We're going to pull the strings out. There, we got the strings in there. Keep those winding, wispy, willowy, super cool fades on those effects and pianos. I love the way those wind out. So we'll see if that sounds a little bit more pronounced and a little less drowned in other piano pieces. I'll take it just from the piano part on, and then I'll try it with the impact of the entire piece again. one that whines and whips and just completely hums through the end there. All right. Well, this is the track I need to look at and try and fix. Build these guys up and look at the beginning. This interesting assembly here was on practicing major scales in high school band, and the originals were just finding our kitchen, what key and how we navigate. Horn parts. Oops. There we go. And then major into minor. Major, minor, major, minor, major, minor, back and forth. Just like Philip Glass would have done. And then pronouncing over the top with the other pieces. This piece builds up chaos first, and then it comes into some sort of a semblance, even though the parts are a bit frilly through that walk up there. Here, violin from London Symphony Orchestra. And we're going to throw a little bit of reverb on this. Just the reverb within the plug-in, just to see what we can get for a feel of this violas. Change the release, we can change the vibrato, dynamics, expressions on these notes. Viola players and violin players are going to hate me if I ever produce this onto the sheet, to the page. Yeah, G minor. Sounds right, Mark. Yeah, you could definitely play some guitar over that. Maybe that's something I can do. That's beautiful. Okay, I'm going to try this. Just isolate a few tracks here. Well, I got a guitarist on the other side of the planet enjoying this, and another wonderful guitarist in another state enjoying this. I'm not sure how many people are watching, but thanks for being here, fellas. We're going to isolate our individual builds here and start getting our scale. And I want to get this walked up through the instruments until it gets too fluffy, and then we'll start isolating and making sure that our beginning operates as it should. We've got brass, staccato brass, woodwind, staccato, because each one of these channels represents a MIDI voice, but because I can't do all of them long and short emphasis, I have to make an isolated track for each one. So some of these are staccato, pop, pop, like that, which you'll hear, and then violins. Really 120. I like going the fast. I like going 120 as fast as I can go on this to make it feel more like time is passing, keeping those walking lines. I'm going to go back up here and check these other lines for the violas and get into some of those isolated parts there. We're going to deselect all these solos and just work on our violas, violins, and no brass. We got our arco strings, legato cellos, brass, 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 brass. We got woodwinds here. Oh, no, it's a glass piano, because I'm going to put that with the other pianos. And that's already there. So we'll mark our brass. If you're in the chat, what color should I make my brass color? I'm going to make it preferably something bright. All right, we're going to go to a custom color. I'm going to make our brass orange. Now our brass is definitely distinguished. Violins, violas, strings, staccato marks. There we go. Okay, so just these isolated with no brass, no woodwinds, no glass piano, no other craziness going on. Just a little bit earlier. I gotta isolate these down here. This one right here that needs to be frozen and maybe faded in. See how these basses and cellos are. This fade here. Nothing in the chat. These two individuals and there are two that are stepping in. Just right there. There we go. That way they come in together, and I'll play the whole thing back without the solo tracks to see what we're doing here. The strings are so beautiful. Pull it off for the piano. There we go. And now that has punch. So yeah, that would be very cool to maybe bleed some of these off, pull this beautiful string part in here. parts are really, really stretching together with those individual strings that are all going on underneath all of this noise that sounds like a bunch of G major, G minor, back and forth. On this to make sure those cellos are not tromping all over everything. So that we want this strings arco green channel here to stand out. So I'm going to make it big. We're going to make all of our windows small all the way back, and this is the isolated channel and the melody that I'm worried about. This fade, I don't know if it's even doing anything, so invert the phase on this channel so it can stand out above the other violins. They're not inverted, so maybe it'll cancel. Low talk volume and the blasted with the music. Gotcha. Okay, sorry. How's that? Should be better. Hopefully. I'll get my mic on auxiliary. Thank you very much for that note. Sir, hopefully that is much better. We will pull this cloud lifter to its limit. You'll hear all the buzzing. It's going to be great. All the noise, all the madness. But I do have a filter on here. Music playback is 10 times lower. Gotcha. I'm going to pull that down. We'll pull the DAW down. And now I'll be talking. We'll be talking. Continue to talking behind the DAW. So let me get the walk up on those scales, and hopefully you can still hear me. I'm going to keep going on the mic level a lot. Get that up. All right, it is up. We are up above, hopefully above the DAW. There we go. Bob Ross. There we go. All right. Playback. Balancing this brass. There we go. That's a little bit left, and this one is a little bit right, and that one's center. And that should have been center. Bit more music level, says Mark. Okay, it'll come back up a little bit more. There we go. I need to freeze that track. That's what I need to do, is freeze all these. Oh, freeze all these things. I need to freeze every single one of these voices and lend the computer a break, so that way it's not rendering all these literally being rendered in real time. So I'm going to bust this piano section down into frozen tracks, and we're going to select 1, 2, 3, track 17 through 19. We're going to say render and freeze tracks to stereo stems because these are split into left and right balance. And it is fun to play with the image of that while it's being made. So that way we can either split it to mono and change it whatever, or we can play with stereo and try and put it in different ears. And that should be just that isolated piano part. It is now rendering. You'll see the render. There we go. Now it is no longer being done live unless these are unmuted. These channels are just what I just made. So now I can go in there and say, okay, well, we don't want to place anything differently because our timing is still the same. We'll check these tracks and make sure they sound exactly like they should. Yep, now I can go through and isolate these 3 individual tracks, either sending them to a bus or I can just copy paste my EQ, but I'm sure my audio engineer friends would say a bus would be easier. We want to make sure that these things are ringing out, and we want that one that hums and sings at the end. It's really long piano holds. This guy right here needs to be lifted. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to go into this track. We're going to change this. We're going to go to our dynamics. We're going to clear our filter because we're not looking for something. And you're going to real limit just to make sure we don't cap. And then we're also going to add in leveler dynamics, leveler tool, leveling tool, ADHD, as per one GM Pro Sound recommendation. We'll see what this can do. Take the drive out of here, switch that all the way down. When our peak reduction is going to be off what we're watching the needle bounce here. So when we get through this, this is isolated. This is the effect on channel 17. Channel 17 right there at the top. We'll make sure and roll. All right, we got that channel. I don't want too much peak reduction. Now let's hear that with everything else in this little section right here with just the pianos. See if we can get that a little bit more tamped down. All right, that sounds a little less barky, chunky. There we go. That sounds better. Now for this piano part. Now those strings. I'm gonna pull these guys down. Well, they're not gonna do that because they're not frozen. Man, I need to freeze all these tracks. I gotta freeze everything. Ah! And then make channels forever, apparently, which you can't do in Pro Tools unless you have the big boy version. Yeah, bus what, right? Thanks, Mark. Yeah. Yeah, just trying to get these balanced parts on the end here. I'm going to go for probably another 10 minutes or so. Maybe 20 minutes, but this has just been kind of an experiment in sharing how I do my process, and hopefully it was intriguing to somebody, and we will work with marketing and branding and channel stuff as we go. Yeah. All right, so I'm going to keep working on this just for a little bit here. Just going to happy little trees this. I'm going to isolate this track right here is what we're worried about. Lift that gain. Let's invert that and just bring it back up to 0. We'll invert that, bring it back to 0. We'll see we're peaking on the channel there, so is not moving at all. What the hell? What is happening here? All right, so we're going to pull that effects. We got our real limit that's doing that. We're going to take this down to 1.-2 to make sure we're not peaking from the source, which is already being capped by the real limit over here, so it's kind of redundant. Now we're going to throw maybe just an EQ on here. I'm going to take that out, and we're going to add an EQ. And we're going to do newfangled equivocate, which is fun. We'll put this over here, not in front of the mixer. Can't block the mixer. Can't block it. There we go. All right, here we go. We got our isolated frequencies and see what's going on. Sorry, Justin. All right. Get this channel boosted. Because we are not dealing with the track as it's being rendered. We're dealing with the track in post. And we're going to see what this is the loudest humming here. Ooh. Pull that down a little. Let's listen to that back without that. Ooh, that's cool. Uninvert that. Alright, cool. Now we're going to take it with the whole shebang and we'll see if we can turn the volume up and get this piece to stand out a little bit more. Here we go. There we go. I really don't want that stand out too far on the left and right, but everything is still mixed the way it was. If I bring everything back to center, we'll see how. Oh, Mark wants to see fun tuning it. That is very cool. And thank you very much. Yeah, turn your volume to hear you talking. Thanks, fellas. Appreciate it. Yeah. Hear you play and woke my dead grandmother. Sorry about that, Mr. Jam Pro. Yeah, we will get these balanced out. Appreciate it. Thank you, fellas. Got approximately 5 more minutes or so. I really think this is cool, and I like sharing this process. So let's see what we can do with what we were just doing, which was changing the EQ on these stems here. See if they can get these inversions to stand out and do a little bit more than they should. All right, let's see what that sounds like. This part right here, isolated, sounds more like a structure or a skeleton to me. And that's what I'm trying to do with it and use it to kind of hold up those mid frequencies like bones, and then all the weight of the subs and everything else that's going on will kind of fill it out like the body. take it through the uninverted. Phase. All right. All right, cool. That sounds like the mid frequencies there are being boosted to give a skeleton underneath all that supporting stuff, and when it fades out, it should feel like all the meat is died away, and there's nothing but the bones left over, just like a corpse would decompose. On some of those fades, you can do that with the meat of the sound, and then keep the higher end out. It kind of gives its tinge into from full color to black and white kind of feel. Anyway, I think I'm going to call it. Thank you, fellas, for watching. Appreciate, yeah, I get the AAD. That's what you see. Mark says, send me that track. Fun thing is, it's very cool on it. Yeah, I will definitely send that out. And it says, tune your guitar to EAD, ABE, and use pentatonic shapes. That sounds great. Yeah. Hit those 357s on fretboard. Thank you, fellas. Appreciate your time. I'll try and do this once a week, at least. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, if I can do it. All right. Well, we're going to stop the stream. Thank you, guys. Appreciate your time. I'll see you online.